Yes, guys, I hope everyone is well. Happy Wednesday. This is your daily market outlook for today. It is the 13th of May. A little bit of a late upload, more of a New York afternoon upload. So I do apologize. Been very, very busy this morning. But yeah, it is currently in Spain, 20 past or 23 minutes past three, which is obviously an hour in front of the UK. So yeah, a little bit late of an upload, but we can see what the markets have done during London, going into obviously New York session and see if we can see any potentials. But before we do, understand that the content on this YouTube and inside my Discord is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor and nothing shared in my videos should be considered financial investment or trading advice. Trading and investing always involves risk, and you should conduct your own research before making any financial decisions. Any past performances discussed does not guarantee future results. You are responsible for your own financial decisions always. So with that being said, let's jump into the charts and see what we can see what is happening today. So yesterday we obviously had CPI. Give me 1 second. What have I just done? Bear with me for 1 sec. So yesterday we had a CPI, as you guys can see. And then obviously going in today, we do have at 230, or should we say, we did have at 230 core PPI and PPI, which as you guys can see, obviously happened today, Wednesday. And then going into tomorrow, we also have Red Folder News at 2:30 again, and then Great British Pound News at 8 a.m., which will be for the London session. So yes, we've obviously had the news already today. We can obviously see what's happened inside the markets and then see if we can capitalize on anything or any moves going into the rest of today. So, as you can currently see, we're inside that daily supply and we have currently reached this 4 hour supply. Now, of course, we can obviously utilize this as a 4 hour supply. Um, I have obviously marked out this whole area just in case we take out the high, and that is where market consolidated before we had the move down. So, just in case anyone is confused why the 4 hour is basically a lot bigger. But like I said, you can obviously utilize it to this exact candle here. Now, 4 hour, you can see we're inside that supply, but internal structure, if you look at this here, you can see that we are still bullish. We're still bullish, obviously going into today. So in order for us to obviously look for any sort of shorts idea on a dollar, I would want to see this low broke so that when we can target potentially this daily lower low down here. But before that, we'll have to see a 4 hour change of trend, which, as I just said, would be from around this area here. Now, jumping into the 1 hour, we can see that the 1 hour, which is our internal structure, is still bullish. It is still bullish, and that's what we've got to focus on because you can see that demand is still in control. At this moment in time, we've had, this today. So I'm expecting market to just carry on from here unless we obviously break this low. Now, if we do break this low, so let's say market comes down, breaks this 1 hour higher low, we can then potentially target market going into that change of direction from the 4 hour supply area. But at this moment in time, internal structure is still bullish. As you can see, we focus on this. Market dipped, didn't come into this demand, carried on. Where did we come into? This the demand area, filled in the imbalance, consolidated, come into London, and then again we broke up above, come back into this demand, broke up again. So we're just expecting market to just carry on because the internal is bullish at this moment in time. Remember, as I always say to you guys, and some of you guys get burnt out by this, if the 4 hour is bearish and we're inside of a 4 hour supply, for instance, let's just mark this out. What I want you guys to really start to focus on is understanding that if the internal structure, which is 1 hour, is still bullish, that for me, we are focusing on the 1 hour. The 1 hour is in control. The 1 hour is in control until we break, or should we say, change trend. Once we go from, more internal 1 hour bullish to bearish, that's then when we can obviously sell from this supply zone. we're on the pullback. So I want you guys to understand that because a lot of people think because it's a higher time frame, meaning a 4 hour supply, that should be priority over the 1 hour. And obviously sometimes it does play out, but I want you to understand that from a technical standpoint, you follow the internal structure until we get that change of trend. And then you obviously focus on this supply being in control because we broke this. Hopefully that makes sense. Now going into your USD. Your USD, you can see that we're inside of this 4 hour demand area. Internal is bearish. So ideally, we would like to see market basically come up into this supply and then we can make a decision to see if market's going to carry on down because that is my next 4 hour supply area or if market's just going to carry on, bullish from here. So we are in this demand. If we look at the 1 hour, what can we see? Well, at this moment in time, market hasn't given us any reason to look for longs, in my opinion. Even if, we go short, if we go short on here and we break this low here, then we can potentially see where the market is at to look for longs. But at this moment in time, I am not interested in buying from here until the dollar, sorry, has give us a change of trend. So for me right now, what I am looking at is this is not my favorite pair. I'm just being honest, because reason for this not being my favorite pair is market has come here. We haven't had another break here. We haven't broke this low, and then we can look for obviously another short. Does that mean that it's not going to play out? No, of course. If market does, let's say, carry on bearish, I would target this supply area as a 1 hour supply. But is it my number one target? No, because we haven't broken this low here. So make sure that you guys understand. So ideally, what I'm trying to get at is if market does carry on, I'll be looking for this area, or if the dollar breaks bearish, then hoping that we obviously see a break above this high, and then we can target the major pairs, becoming bullish. Hopefully that covers that. Going into GBP USD. As you guys can see, we are in this forward demand at this moment in time. So let's just have a look at what's going on. So obviously extremely bearish this week. Obviously at this moment in time, we've broken this low. So we have this is our new range right now. So what I'm waiting for currently is to see what reaction we get from here, of course, but understanding that this supply is still the next supply, which could make the market just carry on shorting. So internally, what I'd be waiting for is, again, if the dollar gives us a bearish change of trend, then we can obviously look for internal change of trends in here, utilizing, the lower time frames, for instance. Maybe for instance, a break above this high. If let's say that GBP USD does this and the dollar is obviously bearish, we could potentially look for long in opportunities. But at this moment in time, we're obviously not interested in that. Now, just going back to the 1 hour, we can see that it's all pretty corrective here. Apart from this 4 hour supply, market structure has been pretty corrective. Where market is at right now is for me this 1 hour supply area. Now, again, you can probably refine that by utilizing this as a 15-minute supply area here. Of course, that is a possibility. Now, dollars reacted inside of here. Let's see how it reacts. Obviously, a 15-minute would be from here, which is pretty much tapped in to that 50-minute demand. So again, if we go bullish, I'm expecting GU to obviously carry on bearish from here at this moment in time. Going into the other major pairs, NU NZUSD, it has been extremely ugly. You can see that we have literally just consolidated for just a long time. So NU hasn't been something that I have participated in, actively every single day. Just being real with you guys, because of the consolidation, I wanted to see this supply area on the four met. We didn't get that, but market has obviously now come into this 1 hour supply, which we talked about yesterday during Asian, and now melted away. Pardon me. So 4 hour 4 hour, pardon me, hiccuping, it's not as clear. 1 hour, you can see that it's again still not the best at this moment in time. The candles just come into this level of supply here, as you can see. If we go down to the lower time frames like the 13 to 15, you will be or should be able to refine that that entry. But for me, I'm gonna be real. NZUSD, we can talk about, of course, which I'm doing. But it's just not my favorite pair at this moment in time. But let's see how we react, from here. Can we get a bit more of a clearer, entry point? That would be nicer for me personally. So I'm gonna leave NZUSD at this moment in time. Now, just quickly keeping an eye on that. Now with AUD USD, you can see that same, it has been consolidating. You can see market has been failing to break highs and not breaking lows and just been consolidating as well, but still a little bit cleaner than NZUSD. So at this moment in time, what you can see is we've been trapped between the supply and demand. So I'm going to look at the 1 hour. I'm going to focus on what's happening here first and foremost, because at this moment in time, we're inside of this 4 hour supply. Um, what you can see happen is we've had an engulfing candle here, and we're now just tapping back into that 1 hour supply area, that candle. Engulfing candle, markets come back up. Are we going to carry on? And if the dollar does carry on bullish from here, then yes, we can expect potentially, AUD, USD to carry on bearish from here as well. Of course, if you want to wait for extra confirmation, I would wait for this low to be broken. So let's say we get a break of this low, and then we might have a better opportunity to look for the shorts. But as you can still see, internal is bullish. So it is obviously a risky one. Me personally, I've been looking at, the reason I would enter, for instance, AUDSD shorts right now would be because of, the US dollar, pretty much. USD CAD, let's see what she's doing. You can see that we've been inside this daily demand area. We obviously had this 4 hour supply area here, which market slowly reacted, slightly reacting, but now we're still getting that bullishness away. So for me, I think the Bulls are still in control at this moment in time. What I can see from a 4 hour is this 4 hour supply area where the imbalance was left above is where the market's had a slight reaction from. Now, looking at the four, you can see that the internal structure is bullish. Higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. So we're still extremely bullish from a 4 hour. Now, again, we still have some imbalance below here on the four, but we haven't obviously come down into these areas at this moment in time. Now, going into the 1 hour, you can see that we had, and we talked about this 1 hour demand area and this 1 hour demand area. Now, as you can see, market came into this 1 hour demand, and then we had this bullishness away. For me personally, I marked out this supply. I didn't take this supply, just being real with you guys, because internally we are still bullish. So for me right now, we're obviously in reacting from this demand area. Um, this is an extremely tight demand area here. As you can see, if you look at the 2 hour, is it a little bit better? You can obviously utilize, for instance, this body of the candle here as a 1 hour demand. 1 second, let me just go back to the 1 hour. So obviously what you can see happen is we basically just come into like this imbalance rather than tapping into this demand. But yeah, you can see we are reacting perfectly away from there. What you could potentially wait for, we've got 22 minutes left on here. See how we finish, see what the dollar is doing. If we carry on, then potentially looking to just carry this on bullish. But again, it has to align with if USD CAD the US dollar carries on bullish as well. USD CHF, as you can see, let's just quickly go to the four. The 4 hour, we're inside of this 4 hour supply area, but internal structure is bullish. So at this moment in time, am I interested in shorting? Nope, I'm not until we get that change of trend. Because if you look at the 1 hour, what can you see happen? Well, you can see that we have higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then, well, not quite a higher high right now, but market obviously went bullish from here. So what am I looking at here? Well, if right this moment in time, this demand area is my number one target, to obviously carry on bullish. That would be my area or my prioritized area, should I say. Now, of course, if, for instance, market gives us a change of trend, understand we have an unmitigated demand, but that change of trend internal structure would be going bearish. We're reacting out of forward supply. What is the dollar doing? That will be then when I'm asking questions about shorting. If we break this low here, and then you can potentially obviously look for the shorts. So hopefully that makes sense. Internal is bullish. Yes, we're in a 4 hour supply, but we're still bullish and demand is still in control from a 1 hour. So that is our focus. Because as you can see, this 1 hour demand area is where market come back into. I was expecting or wanting this demand area this morning, um, but we didn't quite get that, and we've had a pullback, another reaction from here. So these are the areas that I'm keeping an eye on, but mainly at this moment in time, this demand area. USD Japanese yen, I'm not going to cover. Look at the state of that. That is just, it is obviously extremely bullish, but for me, just not something that is worth covering at this moment in time. So yeah, man, hopefully you guys got some value from this call. Again, apologies for the late upload, but again, it's never too late, is it? So yeah, man, I appreciate every single one of you guys. As always, take care and God bless.